I would wager that's partly because Var has probably so much experience, especially being in the St. Louis area, just playing these kids when they're so young and talented, that he's now kind of numb to the sensation that he's probably lost so many games to an up and coming kid, and he's probably won so many, so he's ready for it.
So it's not the end of the world anymore. It's not like, oh my gosh, I lost to a kid. You know, once you've done it once,
then you're good.
Got it. Yeah. Well, I tried to rattle him a little bit, you know, but I don't think I succeeded at all.
No, he's too stoic.
Yeah. Cool. So starts in less than 1 minute. All right. Looking down the sides, we've got a slightly bigger match than the first match, I would say. Goodness. I mean,
oh, yeah. But I think that's reflective of the size of the fan clubs.
Yeah, the first match was 20 against 20. And now what do we have? Maybe 35, 40 players?
Well, St. Louis has like way more than two times the club size of, for example, San Diego or San Francisco, almost 3 times the size of San Francisco. And Chengdu has almost 400 members as well. So these guys are definitely coming out in bigger numbers.
All right, so we will definitely not be able to follow all of this stuff here, but hopefully we'll cover a few games. We'll see Var here with his 3rd white in a row. We didn't ask him about that during the interview, but in the break, you know, he agreed that he was licking his lips about getting to play white all day.
Yeah, I was wondering if he actually knew that the fans had earned him the whites, because he said that it was lucky. So I wasn't sure if he actually knew.
Well, then he's in for a nice surprise when he gets like all whites next week as well with their huge fan club.
Yeah, he's just going to think that he's the luckiest player, so maybe we don't spoil it for him.
That's true. That's such a nice feeling. Cool. All right, so I mean that's the game I've got on screen for the first game here. Looks like a Bogo Indian from Jiangdi.
Yep.
I don't know.
Well,
maybe that opening is considered fine now, but I'd be happy to face it.
Yeah, the VAR is taking an approach which is just like very, very classical, like E3. You know that when the bishop's on B4 and you play this A3 line, I'm actually used to.
Uh-oh. I just lost your sound for a second, Aman. Can you hear me?
But yeah, I think that classically just everything's looking good for white, and he's just going to castle.
Okay. I don't know if the sound was just messed up for me for a second or for everybody.
I think maybe actually, I don't know the answer, but I didn't hear you for a little bit.
Okay. I hear you again. So, cool. Okay. Well, you were saying, I think it slowed down and then sped up. I think you were saying that you were very comfortable if you had white in this position.
Yeah. No, definitely. I would be happy with the white pieces. He just played the move C6, and I think, you know, this B pawn is just going to be backwards for most of the game.
Right. So white's got a pleasant choice between like something like queen B3 at some point, or a move like A4 and leave a pawn on B5 and restrict black's pieces.
Yep. He looks like he's got a very nice position. He's going to castle, play queen E2, rook C1, and it looks like a serious position already for VAR just out of the opening here.
All right, we've got someone saying that they've already won a free point for the Pandas in the chat, but I still see the score as 0-0, so we'll see if that happens or not. Both teams have a couple titled players playing for them as well, under 2,200 titled players, some CMs and some NMs, FM. And we should also mention that we've got Gold Dust Tori playing her second match of the day. She also played for San Diego earlier today. She's streaming these games on her own channel as well. So she's giving sort of like the fan experience for anyone who wants to, watch that now or later. The experience of being a fan, playing in one of these matches.
So is she going to be playing pretty much every week?
I think she is planning to play every week. I don't know that she'll make absolutely 12 out of 12, but the big majority, yeah. Nice. So be interesting to see what it's like for a fan to play through a whole season of this and see what she thinks of the different teams, if she has any preferences.
I was wondering if she had preferences, or it looks like maybe she's just going to take whatever team has less players.
Mm-hmm. Maybe so, yeah. Be sort of like the house player in a sense.
Yeah, exactly.
I used to direct tournaments, so I was often the house player, basically fill in where needed.
Well, those are very, very appreciated by those extra fans who are looking for a game and looking to get in.
Yeah, I think the worst feeling here would be to like come to play a game and then not get paired.
Yeah.
So she's helping out with that as well.
Yep.
This game here, it looks like Sicilian, where she lost the e4 pawn at some point, which does tend to happen in the Sicilian. White can lose that e pawn.
Well, how exactly did it disappear? Okay.
Let us see it.
At least you can take solace in the fact that on move 13, bishop was played because you want to conserve the bishops. So it's like good intentions, right? That's always the best kind of blunder, I think.
Yeah. Good positional intentions. And now she's going to have to still fight for those e4 and d5 blockading squares in the Sicilian, just as if you had an e4 pawn. One way or another, the goal is you want to keep that black center from mobilizing. So anyway, if you guys want to check out how that goes for her, you can check out her Twitch channel.
Yeah.
We're going to pop back to Varuzhan and try and learn a little bit more because he's been giving out some lessons today. So a4, locking in b5 and giving up the b4 square.
Yeah, I think at some point you have to sort of choose something like this. It looked like maybe black was on the verge of trying to kick the bishop out, and then maybe going for b5. So maybe he felt like it was time to do that. Knight a7, trying to get b5 and b4 potentially.
Right. Interesting. It's also a question of how to progress if we don't play a4. Because if I play a move like rook c2, then on knight a7, I can't play the move bishop d7, which I would want to play.
Right.
So, I mean, white's also got to decide at some point between putting rooks on the b file and doubling them on the c file. So it's actually not so easy.
Instead of bishop a3,
yeah.
What do you think about knight e5? And then presumably rook c8 is being played. And then I'm going to take everything and then play rook c1. And I want to say that my king reaches c4 as quick as black's king reaches c6.
Okay.
And that this should be a much, much better endgame for white.
Yeah, I wonder if black could just play b5 right away in response.
Right, that's the question. But, I mean, I'll just take it. I mean, that's a pawn.
Right. I know you'll take it. So now I'll play a4.
Right. Takes a4. I suppose in this case, I think I would just play king f1, like just bring my king, because I don't see a way this pawn advances all the way.
Okay, king f1, a3.
Yeah, king e2. And I'll just plant my bishop on a1 and bring my king over and take that.
Yeah.
And if my logic is that if you can't play b5, my king does reach c4 as yours reaches c6. It just seemed like a way to completely trade everything off. And honestly, it looks like a winning endgame to me. Yeah,
I see that. I don't see anything for black to have done about that idea either.
Right. So anyways, it's a very forcing thing. So it's not something you're always on the lookout because, you know, you're not even up material in that position. But it did seem like a good option. Anyways, he's got a nice position, right? Backwards pawn, knight coming to c4 next is a big threat.
Right. All right, so trying to deal with that in advance, getting b7 defended, looking at knight c3. How do we go from here as white?
Yeah, I'm not sure if king f1 is just a nice move to make, for example, but seems like black's doing fairly well.
I would say as long as black has the c file, I would be surprised if black were much worse. I mean, I understand the b6 pawn's a little bit weak, but the rest of it seems pretty active.
Yep, I guess, yeah, no, there's not really, because e4, knight c3 always hits everything in the position, so it's not like e4 ever takes anything with tempo. So, I mean, he's playing h3 here, but I don't see how white improves the center, you know? Like, black can just sort of play king f8, king e7, f6.
Yeah, I mean, I would have thought white would have to somehow get the king to d2 and play rook c1.
Yeah,
progress from here. Frankly, I don't see white's advantage.
Maybe he should do that.
But if you were going to do that, why play h3, right?
Yeah, I definitely agree there.
Maybe VAR doesn't see white's advantage anymore either.
Yeah, time's about even, so like if there's one thing I've noticed about this Chinese player is he's very fast.
Yeah. All right, let's pop through some of the other top boards in this match. Iranian Cheetah playing white against Keith Honsky or Keith Thonsky. That looks pretty cool. I like it. I like both players' positions.
I am a big fan of black's position right off the bat. Feels
Possibility.
like knight d4 is, yeah, there it is. Feels like knight d4 is an automatic.
Yeah. Don't really want to take that.
Well, he just blundered with bishop d2 and knight f3, I think.
Okay. Well, bishop takes d4 was also losing material.
Yeah, I think he had to play queen e1.
Queen e1 was his one square.
Yeah.
Then he would never be able to take on d4 either, though, right? He would
it's just not a nice position at all.
Oh, but there's rook f3 here. How clear is this?
Rook f3. Cute move.
Yeah.
Rook takes
amazingly, d2. If rook d2 and takes on f7,
right
at the end there's even bishop to e3 discovered check.
100%.
So this might super fail.
It looks like bishop takes f3 might simply have to be played.
Okay, and then on rook d8.
Yeah, and then just take d8, play the rook against the pieces as a result.
Ooh, that's tough. That's tough to play. Wow.
I think there's still reasonable chances. Like I'll play queen g5, and well, I have queen c1, if queen g2, and otherwise I might play e4 and try to like just get the rook in there or something. But no, certainly not by design. Say that.
The queen f1 was not a blunder.
Right. But
I guess
that's an impressive justification then.
A surprise not blunder.
The guy has the worst internet connection maybe on the whole website currently, so we'll see if it lasts.
If the cheetah can make it through the whole thing. All right, so this is being played. So now you're saying you should go with this queen over to g5 maybe instead of taking the file with the rook like I had first done. He agrees with you.
Probably going to go king h2. And then, yeah, I don't really have any forced stuff because queen f4, there's bishop g3. That move's surprising because of that move, exactly. Queen c1. And if king h2, then you're losing your bishop. So he's got to play like bishop or queen f1, but then queen b2, and it seems unnecessary.
Basically, just to lose the B pawn.
Yeah, it felt like he didn't have to. But okay, he's going to give the check again, see what his opponent does, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess he's pretty comfortable doing that.
Yeah, no, this is probably better for white objectively, but it sort of depends here. But well, white's better. Well, white's better for sure. Bishops are better than the rook, but it can be annoying, when you don't feel like you have full coordination.
Yeah, Queen E2. Well, it seems to invite Rook D2. So what's the idea?
I have no idea. Like Queen E2 looks.
I mean, I guess he could play. I guess he could play Bishop or Queen to E3, and probably trade queens and only sack the B pawn. Not so bad.
If you get the queens off the board, though, then white is probably winning for sure.
Right. Even down 2 pawns. I mean, I just have never seen a rook hold 2 bishops.
Right. I mean, let's say here we're only down 1 pawn, isn't it? Unless we lose.
Right now it's only 1. That's correct.
But yeah, he's consolidating here. Dangerous.
Yeah, so now I guess the A pawn instead of the B pawn, maybe.
Yeah, because now bishop E3 doesn't work. I take the queen and go rook E1, so queen E3.
Yeah, queen E3 is forced now.
But the annoying thing is that, if I take that and take the A pawn, I'm worried that I think the bishops just win there.
Yeah, I would expect they would. I mean, white will have a move like bishop D5, so he's going to go for this and keep queens on the board. He's going to retreat his queen after king G2.
Yeah, I think queen F5 probably.
Yeah. Sounds good. Okay, pop back on bar.
Right.
See if he's gotten anything out of this. Knight C4, bishop C6, knight to D6, knight C3. They're really fighting for this B5 square.
This looks fishy for VAR. I have a feeling this is a little fishy.
Like things could get bad, right? The knight on D6, Zhang Di wants to trap it. He doesn't even want to trade things with bishop D5 there, right? He's going for king E7.
I think the knight could be trapped. I think there's stuff to be very concerned about, like maybe king E7 here. And
the A pawn is also a potential victim, right? Which could be a big deal.
Oh yeah, exactly. No, that's why I think that the dust might settle with the knights, but the pawn is just going to be there forever. I think king E7 is a good move here.
Okay.
I'm somehow convinced by it.
Okay, you're happy to just trade the knights on C3 and D6, and then you've got the A pawn as a target in that endgame.
I think so. His move here may prove to just be like a super version of my move, knight E4. It looks like a great move.
Yeah.
But I think regardless, I think VAR is in like serious trouble here.
Well, this move might be super strong. Actually, this could be major trouble for VAR.
Maybe bishop B5 is one of the only moves here.
Yeah, bishop B5 might be the only move. There's just so many scenarios where if there's a normal trade like on E4, VAR just can't untangle the C file, period. So he's got to be really... There's only a couple moves that aren't going to lose to that. Knight B5 loses to bishop B5, A B5, knight D6. So several ways to lose. He goes for bishop takes E6. The one move that Zhang Di better have calculated carefully, but apparently hasn't.
So king E7. I guess he's going to go for this.
King E7 here.
King E7 now.
Maybe king E7 now, right?
And then bishop G4, I suppose. Yeah, I'm not sure why. I'm really not sure why.
Could he have played bishop d5 instead of king e7?
I think he didn't like bishop takes d5.
And then rook c1?
You mean rook takes c7? Or sorry, what move are
I'm
you?
saying with the, instead of king e7 on move 30, if he played bishop takes d5, he seems to just win.
Bishop takes d5, right?
Yeah, just instantly over, yeah.
Yes. Like the thing is there's no world where this works for black. Or sorry, works for white. I don't know where, like I don't know why we're even playing actually, because I feel like some things were missed there by Zhang Di.
Yeah.
It looked, basically the position looked decisive, I have to say.
Yeah.
It did.
Yeah. All right. Instead, the end game is going to continue here, right? With rook and minor against rook and minor.
It's not easy at all. We're going to see like bishop d1 and king e2, and then it's like the bishop is really good at watching the a pawn and also dealing with the kingside pawns. So I imagine we're getting closer and closer to some position that could be considered equal, but black is probably pressing here. If I can trade the rooks, get the king to b4, black is doing super well.
Gotcha. All right. So maybe rook d6 to slow bishop d1 a little bit.
Right.
Would be logical. We're going to pop over to Gold Dust Tori again for a moment here. So now she's got black against Pokemon, who's missing a chance to have a Pokemon icon.
Yeah, big miss there. It's a blank avatar. It's a blank canvas.
Yeah, I mean, there's people who don't even have Pokemon as their name, who have Pokemons as their avatars. So,
yep.
All right, let's see what we think of this position. We've had a piece traded on d4.
Well, knight takes e4.
Knight takes e4 is the big question in this kind of position, right?
Yep, it looks like it works.
All right, let's give it a shot. Knight takes e4, bishop e7, knight d2, bishop d8. I'm tempted to play knight takes c4 before taking on d8. Are you okay with that?
Definitely what I was thinking, yep.
We're good with that. Go there, take on d8, c takes d4. Kind of equal-ish endgame, right?
Pretty equal, yeah.
I mean, knight e4 is one of those moves that's like, it looks exciting for a moment, but I think it makes sense to trade on c3 first, like Tori did, because basically now you don't have the pawn hanging on d4. White still has to recapture on c3. However they do, you may still have the move knight takes e4, no?
Yeah, unless...
queen takes c3 was played. And here she played b6, but now knight e4 should have been on.
Yeah, knight e4 probably worked there.
Yeah, you're checking bishop f7, king f7, queen c4, d5.
Yeah, it should work.
If pawn takes e4, bishop h4, that's how black, that's sort of the basis of this tactic, everybody, is there has to be a bishop for white hanging on like g5 or h4 to go for these knight e4 tactics.
Yep.
And yeah, knight e4, you always have to check bishop takes e7, and then either you have to take their queen or capture a piece while attacking their queen or king, and then recapture on e7.
Yep.
Which we can do here. Condition satisfied. So that's a good opportunity that if she has a coach, or if she coaches herself by looking over her games again, that's what she wants to, one of the things she wants to notice is that opportunity to go for knight e4. Queen b3.
Missed a pretty big move there.
What's that?
I said she just missed a pretty big move there. That queen b3 was attacking f7.
Right. It was defensible with rook f8, but now it's going to be rough. Now it's going to be rough. And Var is down to 10 seconds as he tries to defend this. Ooh, I think king c3 was the right move before. Maybe it doesn't matter. It looks like Zhang Di has like the upset.
Yeah, it wasn't looking good.
Wow. Wow. An impressive endgame from the youngster. Let's click through some of that, shall we? I mean, their next game is going to start like instantly. That's how these matches work. So over here, Chengdu hasn't realized it yet, but he's got another game to play. He's white. He's got to be so pumped from that upset.
Right.
I hope I didn't rattle VAR with my questions. I didn't, right? He didn't care what I asked.
I'm just so confused here.
About what?
Oh, sorry. I thought we were looking at the end game.
Oh yeah, sure, we can. Definitely, I'd love to. Let's see if we can click through some part of it in reasonable speed and get on with the live game. So he played king. Oh, he didn't try to keep the bishop away from d1. He tried to trade rooks.
Yeah, I felt like that was going to be the first thing he did.
Nice. But there's no great way for VAR to keep his rook either.
No, it seemed to me like what I thought would happen was bishop f3, rook c7, rook d4. And then the king would move, and then you go back, maybe like rook c4, or just leave the rook on d4 then.
Okay.
But then once you allow knight e6, it's such an annoying move because it stops rook d4. So now it's like, I don't have a choice anymore.
Oh, yeah.
I guess I was a little surprised after knight e6. He didn't go king d3 and say like, all right, we can trade, but let me get my king up to c4.
Yeah. Okay, so things continued. He wasn't able to win this right away, but he goes and breaks the f4 square on the king side. And once VAR's king moves away from b4, that's going to be a loss. So do you have no way to hold this eventually, I guess? Oh, it was really tough, huh?
Yeah, no, it looks fairly forcing. It really does.
Wow.
Although, if I had to say a move, it would be maybe move 59. How is bishop d5 check?
Bishop d5 check. Because you want me to go to king c3 and then you want to go back to c6, right? But I've got a3, bishop b5, a2.
Sorry, so I guess I said move 59, but I guess I meant technically move 60 for white.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
So bishop d5 there.
So king d4, b4, and now bishop d5.
Yeah. And I want to say king b2, king c4.
Right.
And then no matter which pawn you push, I go king b4. Like, I have a feeling this might be drawn.
Yeah. Even if he played king c2, you would have sort of the same idea of taking on a4, and then when they queen, you check on e4.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I think that, well, first of all, allowing king c3 is just a no. Like, if you let black play king c3, you shoulder the white king and you play one pawn up, usually to b3, and then save your a pawn. But it looks to me like if you play bishop check first, and then you come with the king to c4, you seem to be just in time. So anyway, he was clearly down to seconds at the time, but it just looked like earlier he had that end game I pointed out where I think it was almost like, in some ways, quote unquote, like a forced really good line for white. And then here it looks like we can hold a draw. I'm not sure though.
Yeah. Yeah, I tried king a3 for black. It doesn't seem to be winning either.
Yeah, b2, king c2, and king a2. I just wait, basically.
Yeah. Okay, interesting. Well, let's see. Let's see their next.
Very, very impressive.
Let's see their next game. Yeah, I mean, in any case, even if there was a save for VAR, I mean, the kid had, pushed him with black from a tough opening.
No, absolutely.
Had multiple chances to win the game. Played some good technique in the end game. Put a lot of pressure on him. So, yeah. All right. English opening. Kid's not afraid to get positional.
Yeah, I think these positions always tend to be a little bit better for white. It's really hard to orchestrate a trade of the light square bishops, and there's not really any positional deficiencies. Probably black goes for stuff like knight e7 followed by d5, and try to do that. But again, this bishop on g2 is always going to be so good, and as you open the position up, it always will favor the bishops a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Knight e5 is an idea now.
Yeah. Yeah, just leave that d5 bishop slightly superior to the g6 one, but trade a little bit of the pressure off.
Yeah.
Yeah. 95.
No, this, I mean, slightly better for white, but it's nothing like insane. He goes 97. I think the other move was 95, but 97 followed by d5 looks correct.
Mm-hmm. And there it is, as foretold.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this h4 and bishop on f4 doesn't make a good impression because, like, I just don't know what the next move is.
Yeah, I thought the fight was for the h file, for the e file, not the h file. I don't know. You can play a move like h4 once everything's under control, right? And you're just restricting them one little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
But here with the rook on f1, there were other things to do, I think.
It's just that the move h6 restricts the bishop completely on that diagonal, and if a knight ends up on d5, there's no way you're keeping a bishop pair, basically.
Uh-huh.
There's just no way.
Yeah.
No, this looks like a very good game, but I have to say that the other game looked very good as well. That's the problem.
Mm-hmm.
Is that it always starts that way, but can he maintain it is the only other thing. Because last time we saw Zhang Di basically just stay in the position, and then when it got a little bit tactical, he handled it very well.
How about rook e2 here?
Mm-hmm. Rook e2.
Took me a long time to find this move, so I hope you don't laugh at it.
Rook e2. Okay, well, I mean, let's say I grab c4.
Right. So one idea is for the pawns to trade on c4, and if black trades on d2, which might be naive, but if they do,
mm-hmm.
then in the resulting position, this knight on e7 is not yet good. So I've got some time to use my bishops.
Right.
And the other side of the idea of rook e2 is if black does nothing, I want to play rook f e1 and start pressuring e7 with the idea of taking on d5.
Mm-hmm. Yep. That looks fine. Rook e2 probably black's gonna take because I think he wants to move his knight.
Mm-hmm.
So it feels like that's got to be the correct move. The only other idea is bishop g4, bishop h3, but I'm just walking into a permanent pin.
Yeah, bishop h3 is definitely asking for rook e1. Bishop g4 makes some sense. Bishop e6 might be playable, but you still have to decide whether or not you're taking on c4 there.
Yeah, I think I'd probably take c4, takes, and then maybe like trade the queens and play like bishop e6 or something.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of asking you if you're going to go bishop d5 or not.
Right. I was really planning to just double rooks on the d file. But
Well,
that may be,
if you have to play bishop
that may be
d5,
crazy.
I guess I have a choice there, but probably the opposite bishop endgame just can't be that bad for me.
Mm-hmm.
Knight takes, bishop d7. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I like this. Trading
like,
and bishop e6 makes some sense.
If that happens, though, it's like, can Var really win that position? And is Zhang Di going to be upset with a point and a half?
I don't think black can win that position against white having to pass d pawn and the opposite card bishops.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, one thing we can say about the match is although it's fairly balanced,
mm-hmm.
Back and forth in terms of ratings, I think the Chengdu Pandas side did have like sort of a higher rating on most boards. Seem to have just a little bit higher on every board, and they've opened up like an insane lead. Like it's
my goodness.
It's almost like it's 39-21. It's almost double the score of the St. Louis.
Yeah, the score hadn't updated for me for a little bit, so I didn't realize it. And I saw somebody in the chat saying that, the Pandas have sort of a crushing score, and I was like, just looks like a couple points against a couple points, and then suddenly it updated with 39 points for them.
Right.
Wow. Yeah, they've got well, there's a lot of matchups in the middle that are pretty equal, but yeah, I can't even tell. They're not in exact rating order, so I'm not even sure.
Yeah, I think it's because nobody has like a defined rating in this time.
Oh, they must all have provisionals, and then just from the first round wins, they go up. The first round losses, they go down, and suddenly the order looks weird.
Exactly. So it looks like they're way out of order, but actually they started in order.
Yeah. All right. So he traded on d5 and tried to keep his dark-squared bishop on e5. You said this bishop would not be able to escape being traded once knight d5 happens. So is f6 coming here?
That's what I envisioned. This looks like an f6 moment. It does weaken the square, so then he can say, "Oh, I'll go back bishop f4," and now if you trade, then those light squares around the king are definitely something you may regret.
Right, but he is sacking the d3 pawn this way, right?
That's true.
Knight f4, maybe queen f4.
Yep.
Queen takes d3 or bishop takes d3. I don't even know. Either should be fine.
Yeah, queen d3 though, it just runs into like rook d1 and gets super awkward to keep defending that bishop.
Okay. Yeah.
Like maybe it just wins the piece after queen c2, rook c1, and another rook to d1.
Yeah, it could be. All right, they got some moves played. Let's see what they did. Bishop h3 was played first, actually, not this f6 move we were thinking. Bishop g2 trades that. Well, there goes the bishop pair 2.
And I like that move. It's very good to get rid of the light squared bishops by force there.
And then Var's got queen f5 here as well as an option. Could also pick a pawn there. It feels like this idea of trading on d5 and playing bishop e5 was not going to be good, right? The bishop's just a target there. It's not doing anything useful.
Yeah, it's not good at all. No, what we see here is a bad position for white, and good knight. Good knight on d5. This looks really uncomfortable here, David, because as you pointed out, the pawn on h5 is falling, and that's not even it. I might even like prefer the position even if that pawn wasn't on priest, but it just gets better and better.
Yeah. It's not like you've got something better to do than take it. You would take it, but you like black's position no matter what.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't especially like d4 either, since black can always play f6. This just let's go with a couple more light squares, in my opinion. And maybe activates the rook on c8 in a worst case.
Yep.
C takes d4 might be just as good as queen h5.
Yes, I was just about to say though, when I see d4, then the move f6 becomes very tempting because it's like it's really really running out of squares here for the piece. So let's say bishop f4.
Yeah, that's what I expected, but it just came to d6 anyway.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
e6 looks a little shaky just because there's like queen d5 check.
Yeah, there's knight takes c3 was an option, but Var just played c4.
Yeah, I think Var is going for like a more cutthroat approach where he's saying like, listen, you can, like, I'm not going to take that pawn on h5. I don't need to rush into that. It's there for me all the time, and it's really hard to imagine it being defended. So he's probably going to take and play rook e1, and he's done that. Now queen h5 could be played. It would guard the rook.
Oh, yeah, that's slick. Better than trading rooks and then playing queen h5 when there was a little bit of shenanigans. Queen e6, queen c8, maybe queen c4, depending what happens. Or
Yep. No, this is definitely very, very good for black. However, he's he's also nursing something else, which is like a 6-minute time advantage. So I
Mhm.
think that's like also something to take into consideration here.
Yeah. That's looking good for him.
Yeah, no, this looks very good. Centralize the queen. This is going to be probably a very textbook win for Var.
Mm-hmm.
It's tough to see the queen activating while taking care of the counterplay. Like queen f3 hits both pawns here.
Yep.
After knight takes c3, knight to e2 is just going to win the game because f2 is indefensible. And it looks like any check on like queen b5, queen e8 is just met by king h7, and there's just not another check in sight.
There's no follow-ups. The bishop is just not doing anything. He's just sitting
That's
there.
right. That's
wow. Right. Just grim. Well, that move doesn't stop the knight c3 to e2 idea particularly.
It encourages it. It says, please. Yeah, knight c3, this is over.
No, it's like Far's like, sure, encourage me.
Mm-hmm. 92.
92.
Wins the pawn as well, but
94, very clinical as well.
I like because it's just like queen f2 is unstoppable, but 92.
Yeah.
This is all over.
Yeah.
So where's the mate? That's the question.
Yeah.
Knight g5.
Yep, you found it. That wasn't that hard.
Yeah, I thought it might be harder, but
yeah.
And what he's gonna go queen.
Queen f3.
Looks like
queen f3, king h4, f5. You could also do queen e2.
Yeah, I was gonna say he could do this and queen e2. Okay, he's really going. I mean, the poor white queen and bishop, they're just doing absolutely nothing.
First the bishop was doing nothing, then the queen joined him and was like, let's do nothing together.
Well,
romantic.
The mates here, but queen h2 is the one move mate. There it is.
All right, check out this game with me. Hassel, Dale Hassel, who I've played before, against Jay Lee. And it looks like white's trying to do some decisive operations. His own king is not completely perfect, but he's trying to just finish things off here.
Right. Dale's actually from my city in Calgary here.
That's right.
And is he up a pawn here, right? And he won the first game. Okay. There's threats of bishop g7 and rook f8, so that's why he played bishop e8. However, can't necessarily say that position is so tremendous here. Maybe rook b8 to b7 seems a little slow. That looks like a more direct move.
Okay, well, that can't be taken because of the bishop g7 you mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's a surprising move.
Oh, I thought he was going to take on c6.
Well, I don't get this move because, yeah,
it even risks opposite colored bishops.
Well, it's will be opposite bishops.
Uh-oh.
This is just a draw.
Somebody's win slipped away.
This is not correct. This is not correct. You even lose.
Could it be any deader? Another intermediate move there. Oh. Draw offered, draw agreed. All right, on to Bonnie Lee. Bonnie Lee and the chess boy.
The chess boy.
The chess boy. White is down a pawn.
Pretty good pawn down position, though, I have to say.
Feels like the rook and king are enough to draw it, right?
Yes, it definitely feels drawish.
That's the instinct here.
Trying to find ways to win for black because it's quite, king takes f6 is just so simple.
All right, we've got fan questions in the chat as we look at this end game, asking, after we play our 2 games, is there more? Are there more games? For the moment, no. For the moment, there are no more games tonight. The next match is next week at the same time, 5 p.m. The first club match, 6:15ish the knockout, 6:15 the knockout, and 7:15 the second match.
You're speaking in the Pacific time there, right?
Yeah, this is all in Pacific time. Basically, same times as now. Anyone who's playing today should hopefully know what time it is. There is an after show with James Canty coming up, in about 5 or 10 minutes once this is resolved.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of the thing for today. We're gonna watch the last 1 or 2 games unfold here, and then it'll be over to James. And if you want him to look at some of your losses, I'll be happy to. And if you want to participate in that, just stick around. We'll raid his channel when we finish here. And if you don't want your 2 losses to be scrutinized, if your goal is to not learn anything from them, then you can sign off now or go play some more games, and just make sure not to analyze them afterwards.
Wouldn't want to learn anything.
Yeah, very dangerous. All right. Any other games still going here other than this one? I'm not seeing any others.
Just mix Seattle's chess.
Oh, there's Paul Greer and Chess 926. And right, MC Seattle. All right. MC Seattle's got 5 seconds. And a nice extra C pawn.
Yeah, 5 seconds in a winning position.
Makes it exciting.
Oh, okay.
But he's in that thing that happens to me all the time where you just start making random moves when you're on the increment. I mean, just look around in circles 6 times. Then he came up with the plan, though. He did it fast enough that he went from 5 seconds to 15. That's what I don't do. I just keep making random moves for the rest of the game once this happens to me.
Well, that's a good job. Now she earned the win.
Oh man, her speed is strong.
Yeah, this is very impressive, by the way.
She definitely knows what she's doing. My goodness.
Nice.
Oof. Nail in the coffin. And that's a 2-0 for MC Seattle Chess.
And it looks like Bonnie's one of our last games. Oh, yeah. Never mind. It just ended.
Bonnie's game just ended in a draw. The other game I clicked on just ended. Chess and Paul Greer finished here. And I think St. Louis had more players to start the match, but the match ends in a considerable Pandas victory by just about 20 points here. Yeah, I don't know what the story was. I don't know if they outrated them. Maybe more on these bottom boards, but
we're never gonna be able to see all the games, especially when there's more of them in this match. But
yeah,
somehow what I noticed was that Chengdu was just outrating St. Louis on most boards. Now again, everyone's provisional, so it's hard to say. So maybe what happened was everyone was just super underrated on the Chengdu side.
Yeah, and the rapid ratings may be super provisional for a lot of people. Maybe as people play more over the course of the season, we will start to see sort of ratings that we can put more faith in.
Right.
But yeah, for now, it's a big win for Chengdu. They get 3 points for that. Plus they got a point from Jiangdi getting 3rd place in the knockout, so they get 4 points today. St. Louis Archbishops got their own 3 points from VAR winning the knockout. And so
from the group.
Yeah. And so I don't know that San Diego got any points, but I think it's something like San Francisco 5, Chengdu 4, and St. Louis 3. Something about like that.
Well, I see the standings there on the screen, so you're actually calling them out perfectly.
Oh, cool. Yeah. So very close between those 3 teams this first week. Hope that was fun for everybody. Stick around if you want to analyze some fan games. We've already covered the pro games, so if you want to stick around and check out some fan games with James Canty, we'll be rating him in a moment. And next week the same 4 teams will be playing. Pick your club wisely, whichever team you want to support. And Aman, any closing thoughts here?
Well, it's just the first week of this new format. So I can imagine it's only going to get more popular. More people are going to show up, more fans are going to show up as they say, like, hey, wait a minute, like this is actually something that's going on that I need to make time in my schedule for. So I expect, David, that the club matches are actually going to get much bigger as the weeks go on here, and I think we'll just have to see